Hello everybody, welcome to Twinkle Star Sprites in this, the 16-bit summer after party. And if you're interested in possibly winning a SNES classic, despite, SNES games being free for Nintendo Switch Online users now, but I mean, there's some games on the SNES Classic that aren't on there, like Castlevania and Super Mario RPG and Earthbound and Final Fantasy III and Contra, I think, and Super Punch-Out, and I may or may not be looking at the back of the case, Secret of Mana, yeah, that game too, and Star Fox 2, among others. So, yeah, link in the description down below if you want to enter that there competition. So, yeah, Twinkle Star Sprites. This is an interesting game. Not too familiar with this little style of competitive shmups. But leave it to SNK to make shmups competitive. Like, they were, like, the best at doing these little competitive games, like Magical Drop and all their little fighters and whatnot. As far as this game is concerned, it's really interesting in the sense that you destroy chains of enemies to send shots to your opponent's side or to create enemies on their side. So yeah, if your shots end up hitting them, that does like extra damage, I believe, and of course there's also the enemies that can deal damage too, and the first person to die loses. You can actually reflect shots back, though, if you shoot them. So like even the shots that they send over have their own like little HP meter. So yeah, you can send those back over, and if those hit, those do extra damage, and yeah, interesting concept. You can also send bosses to your opponent's side. I don't think I have a clear idea on how to do that, but I don't know, I did check Wikipedia, and it said something along the lines of, if you destroy reflected shots, you could end up sending a boss to your opponent's side. So I don't know how many degrees of reflected shots you have to destroy. It's probably just 2. It was hard for me to really keep up, though, with all the things going on the screen. It's a pretty hectic game, but it's fun when you get the hang of it. I also greatly appreciate the English. It's a mid-90s, like, Japanese game that was ported over to the US. Of course, the English isn't going to be amazing, but I don't know, it's just something about it. It's just kind of charming in its own little way. Well, this story is kind of weird because I have no clue what we were doing up until the very end. Not to mention, the text was auto-scrolling pretty fast, so it took all of my concentration to sort of keep up with what was going on. Funny enough, there were about like 4, maybe 5 more characters in the game that don't show up in story mode. But they are selectable in the standard arcade mode and versus mode. And the only difference between story mode and arcade mode is that story mode just has cutscenes. You would get the same experience if you played the normal arcade mode, or what they call it in this game, character mode. From what I've seen of the characters, though, they actually do a pretty decent job of making everybody pretty unique. because of course everybody has like a regular shot and then a charged shot that has different properties, and then everybody has bombs. And I like the different bomb patterns. They all do the same thing, just clear your screen of all bullets and enemies and make you invincible for a little while. But it's really cool to see just the different special effects that each one has. It's a nice little touch. I just wish that some of the other characters were shown off in story mode, but I guess they just weren't considered important enough, despite showing them in the opening movie. Whatever. As far as the version I'm playing, it's, well, I was about to say a port, but no, it's not a direct port of the game. It's pretty much a remaster done by the folks over at .emu. There are a few issues with it, namely the frame rate. I mean, with any shmup game of this era, if there's a lot going on the screens, there will be lag, but no, there are actual like frame drops at times and sort of like messing up the music. For a minute I thought it might have been me, but from a few Steam and GOG reviews I saw, no, it actually is a bit of an issue with this version of the game. Like .emu just did something to the ROM, like decompressed it and then just added features, feature, namely the ability to play online with people, and shipped it out. So I don't know if there were later patches or something, because the version I'm playing was from GOG. Well, it's through Twitch, and apparently their versions of games that they sell are from GOG. And GOG normally doesn't get the same updates that Steam does because, DRM free and whatnot. So, I don't know, maybe the Steam version runs better. But despite those few hiccups, it still plays fairly well, and it's enjoyable. And yeah, the multiplayer mode is where you can play online with people, and it has leaderboards and stuff. The three main versions of the game are character mode, the standard arcade mode, story mode, and versus mode, which just means local two-player. So yeah, I really don't have much else to say. I mean, it's just a competitive shmup that gets pretty difficult. I sort of fell into the same trap that I did with Magical Drop, in that matches would either go on very long before one of us will win, or the matches will be over instantaneously. Very rarely would there be middle ground. And while these matches aren't timed in the game, there is a little time factor where if you take too long to finish off your opponent, a Grim Reaper will appear. I believe it's after 100 seconds. Though the Grim Reaper still functions like a normal enemy where you can just destroy it and send like a bullet or blast over to your opponent's side. But if the Grim Reaper touches you, that's an instant KO no matter how much health you have left. And then, even after you kill the Grim Reaper, it'll come back after a little while with even more HP to make it harder to kill. So yeah, there's no actual time limit, but you don't have the time to screw around. But yeah, nothing else to really say about the game. It's fun. Enjoy the rest of story mode, and look forward to some stuff I recorded from the character mode, so you can see some of the other characters that weren't shown off during the main game. And I will see you all next time with another game in this, the 16-bit Summer After Party. There's really not much to this game for it to warrant like multiple days. Oh well, still fun. See you all next time, and goodbye.
ひどい